Welcome to another episode of Game of Thrones Academy. Hi Itamar.
Hello.
What we do is... Okay, what we do is we look at A Song of Ice and Fire through the lens of history, real political processes. Then we learn something about stories and also maybe along the way a little bit about history. And today we're going to talk about the Iron Islands. The Iron Islands are very interesting. They're very different. The other people, the Ironborn, are very different from the other people on Westeros. Tell us a little bit about them.
They are part of Westeros. Politically, they are part of Westeros.
Right.
But in terms of their relationship with the dominant culture of Westeros, they're very different.
Very different.
First of all, they didn't adopt the faith. The seven gods. Still, they keep their national god, let's say, their own national god, which is very different.
They're the only one.
They don't accept the other gods. In a way, they are half monotheistic. Like they say, all the other gods are false.
Right.
In that sense.
And it's islands, so
so
they're not connected to the mainland.
They're not connected to the mainland. They can't grow anything on the island. There are usually metals there, mainly metals and iron.
Right.
So they are dependent on seafaring in order to
like fish.
Like fishing and pillaging is a part of their economy. Like pillaging, they are dependent on
part of their culture also. They're
yeah.
very proud. Like we read this stuff that Victorian talks about, and we're supposed to understand or root for this guy, and he's totally crazy.
It's you can see it's fantasy. I can't imagine seafaring people living on an island that depends in order to survive mainly on pillaging. It sounds
absurd.
Not absurd, but you can't survive a lot of time only on that.
Okay. So when you look at the Ironborn, and then you try to find some parallel in history, some analogy.
For that, it's something that I learned reading the new book, The World of Ice and Fire, that was very interesting. It said that there is maybe a myth or maybe a theory that the Ironborn came from the West, that maybe originally they are not from this continent originally. So their god and their culture is something maybe that goes far in the past.
And they despise like the continent people in a way that is different from the animosity, the general animosity between the riverlands and the rich.
They despise their culture.
They despise their culture.
And when a weak culture, a green culture.
And when Theon comes back from Winterfell, which is very tough Winterfell, like the North people are tough, he goes back to the islands, and his father tells him that he's dressed like a girl. He's spoiled because he has these clothes, and he didn't earn his iron and his gold, right? He bought, what was it that he bought?
He didn't pay the iron price.
He didn't pay the iron price, right?
Which means you need to steal. Basically, means you need to steal it from other.
Kill someone.
And kill someone.
Yeah, and his sister is also they're very violent people. And then when you look at history, what do you see?
I immediately thought about the Vikings.
The Vikings.
So first of all, they are island people. It's not maybe a totally surrounded by ocean island, but they are island people, so they are dependent in order to survive in some during their time. They needed to go outside of their island, and they were like every summer or something like that. There were pillagers that went to the continent. Maybe it was England, sometimes France. Sometimes Russia today.
They had like great ships.
They had fast ships, long ships,
right.
like with the thingy in the English thingy.
And sails and like big sails.
Yeah. Right. They used to not take back slaves and thralls and stuff like that.
The same with the Ironborn.
Yeah, right? But maybe the difference that the Vikings were, they did grow food. They did sow. Yeah. They did it to survive. So if they reached a certain
but
place,
they
they settled there and built towns.
Yeah, but they did have a culture of violence and a culture of battle.
Yeah, in the sense that their relationship, let's say in the 9th century or the 10th century, like the High Middle Ages, their relationships, in contrast to the continental people, there are a lot of similarities. Like, for example, it took time until they adopted Christianity. So their gods were different from the gods of the continent. They used, in some instances, they used female warriors.
Okay.
So it's also similar to the Iron Islands. Also, their god, one of the most popular gods, was Thor, which is the storm god, and it's like similar to the drowned god, which is his enemy is the storm god.
Right.
So it's very similar
Okay.
in the sense that you have an island that is part of the continent.
This is another difference.
They are part of the continent in the same way that Scandinavia is part of the European continent, but in a certain time, in history, the people in the north, the Scandinavian people, were different from the continental people in Europe and in England. Vikings, they had their prime for 2 centuries, but they didn't build an empire, a Viking empire. They took lands and they married the local people and spread the blonde gene. This is their biggest legacy.
Okay. So this I think is a nice setup for Itamar's bold prediction. This is an incredible prediction. Itamar.
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So my prediction is that we all know that Christopher Columbus discovered what we call today America.
Discovered.
But it is known now.
It is known
now that he rediscovered it because the Vikings.
It wasn't even discovered, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the Vikings. We now know the Vikings, probably 300 years before, got there first.
Right.
And there are some
Newfoundland, right?
Newfoundland, yeah, I think it's Canada today. So when I read about the Ironborn in the song in the World of Ice and Fire, and they had this clue that maybe they came from the West, and first of all, they are the most Western people.
Right.
They are the most Western people.
Right.
So my prediction that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
They will find a new continent.
A new continent in the world of Ice and Fire.
In Planetos, yes.
The Planetos.
So-called Planetos.
It's called Planetos.
So-called Planetos.
Okay. Where?
Where in the West? A new continent, a new world. And
out west.
Something
big out west.
Mm-hmm. And maybe they will even call it Americatos.
Americatos? Not America sauce?
America sauce.
Okay, maybe a picture with American sauce, something, Okay. This is.
I don't know. Maybe if the Iron Island found it, maybe it's for, I don't know, another part of the series of World of Ice and Fire. But I'm almost sure there is another continent on Planetos.
Right. Something like with some kind of Indians, like of indigenous people.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe that's where the children of the forest are going. Like Frodo on a ship.
Yeah, it's like maybe Florida for the old people.
Of the children. Yeah, once they're no longer children of the forest.
They go to Americatos.
Okay. I like your prediction. Okay, so let's wrap up. If you like the video, you can like it and subscribe and comment. I'm sure you have something to say about this wild prediction that the Ironborn are going to populate another continent. Okay, let's see if that happens. Yalla, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.